Hello, and welcome to session 3 of our series on parenting during the primary years. In each session, we cover topics which are relevant to parenting children of all ages, but with a particular focus on children aged 5 to 11. In this session, we will be looking at the power of words, children's feelings, empathy, active listening, listening tips, and getting alongside your child. Take a moment to think back to your own childhood. Are there particular words and phrases that you can remember being said to you? I think most people can recall at least one memorable phrase that parents or other significant adults, such as maybe a teacher or another family member, used to say to them. Do those words or phrases still affect you when you think about them today? One phrase that nearly everybody will be familiar with is "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." However, I think we can all agree that this is far from the truth. This applies to both positive and negative words and phrases, and we need to be careful how we talk both to and about our children. Even a family nickname, which might be thought of as a term of affection, could make a child feel worthless, stupid, or less than loved. Here are some examples of phrases that could affect a child more than we realise. Here comes trouble. Oh, you little monster. Why can't you be more like your brother or sister? He's really driving me mad at the moment. Take a moment to think how these phrases might make a child feel. You may already know, having felt the same yourself as a child. A child might feel sad. Is that what my mum really thinks about me? They might feel afraid. What will happen to me if I'm really that bad? They might feel bad about themselves. I can't be as good as my brother or sister. I'm a horrible child. They might even lose respect for the parent. If that's what they think, I'm not going to bother to do what they say. In our last session, we spoke about emotional bank accounts. Using words that make a child feel bad about themselves or afraid are an example of how we could empty their emotional bank account. Let's think about some positive things that we could be saying to our children in order to fill their bank account and boost their confidence and self-esteem. You played so nicely with your sister today. Thank you for sharing with her. I love you. Thank you for coming to the table when I asked you to. Well done for getting started on your homework. You are so smart. We thought about how words can affect children's feelings. We all have feelings: anger, sadness, happiness, joy, fear, loneliness, worry, and children are no different. Sometimes it's easy for us to express how we are feeling, and other times it is not so easy. For children, it can be even harder to express their feelings, and they will often act out their feelings when they cannot put them into words. For example, they may become aggressive, tearful, or withdrawn. My son was recently on the receiving end of some rather nasty pushing and shoving in the school playground. When he came home that day, he seemed quite calm and he said he was okay. But later on, when he was playing with his brother, he became aggressive and began shouting at him. It was clear that he was feeling angry about what had happened to him, but didn't know quite how to express that in words and took it out on his little brother. Being able to put yourself in your child's shoes will help you to understand their behaviour. Being able to describe how you feel is a key communication skill for children to learn. Children need to learn how to express their feelings through words rather than acting them out, which is a key skill for them to learn at primary school as they interact with other children and adults. It's important to encourage our children to say how they are feeling about a situation and to take responsibility for their actions. To begin with, we may have to identify and put their feelings into words for them, in the hope that they will eventually be able to do this for themselves. For example, you could begin by saying, "When you," and "I felt." So when my brother snatched my toy from me, I felt angry. When I was pushed and shouted at in the playground, I felt scared and sad. By teaching our children to recognise and express their feelings in a healthy way, we can help them to develop emotional maturity. I spoke to my older son after he had shouted at his little brother and suggested that maybe he was feeling angry and hurt about what had happened to him, but that it was not kind of him to treat his brother in the way that he did. He agreed that he was feeling angry towards the boys who had been mean to him, and he apologised to his little brother for his behaviour. Being able to put yourself in your child's shoes and seeing things the way they do will help you to understand their behaviour. And another word for this is empathy. Let's look at an example to help us understand this more. Look at this cartoon. The boy's hamster has just died. The dad is putting his arm around the boy, but instead of encouraging him to express how he's feeling, he is trying to get him to push his feelings away and ignore them. If we do this, our child will only get more upset, which we can see happening in the cartoon. Let's look at the second scenario. The dad is now acknowledging his son's feelings and helping him to talk about them. He's showing empathy by saying how sad it is when somebody or something we love dies and putting his feelings into words for him. If we do this, our child will feel comforted by knowing that someone has understood and acknowledged how they are feeling. It's also important when it comes to our children's feelings that we are ready to listen to them, to help us to understand why and how they are feeling. Listening well means giving someone our full attention. It also means looking for the person's feelings behind what they are saying and acknowledging these feelings in how we respond. For example, how did that make you feel? That sounds annoying or frustrating or terrible. No wonder you feel sad. Here are some top tips for things that you could do to help you listen to your child well. Firstly, and most importantly, stop talking and listen. Secondly, stop what you are doing and give your child your full attention. Try to remove as many distractions as possible. Turn off the TV, close the door, move to a different room away from other family members or other activities that are going on. And stop what you were doing. For example, cooking dinner or working. And definitely put your phone down. Notice your child's body language. It often shows how they are feeling more than what they say. Get down onto their level. Kneel down or sit next to them. And face them and give them eye contact. Show you are listening by how you respond, with short phrases such as yes, or oh no, or oh I see. Be responsive with your facial expressions too. If it's appropriate, ask them questions. And say back to your child what you think they have said to check that you've got it right. Don't try to reason with a very distressed child. A hug can help to calm them down. Be patient. Children can take a while to communicate clearly. Whatever they say, it is essential to listen, even if it doesn't seem important to you. If we show our children that we are listening, they are more likely to keep talking to you as they grow up. Take a look at the listening tips list now. You can pause the session and take some more time to think about, are there things that you already do? Are there things that you don't do? Are there things that you would consider changing? Getting alongside our children is an important part of them growing up. Building a good relationship with your child is the key to them listening to you. Life is busy. If you're anything like me, and most parents I know, there are so many demands on our time and attention. However, it's essential to make time for each of your children. Making the effort to put aside time and take opportunities to listen to them, have fun, and spend some quality time together when they are young is so important and will reap huge benefits later on when they are teenagers. What sort of things can you do to spend some quality time with your child? Remember, It doesn't necessarily have to cost money. Pause the session for a few minutes to think about some ideas of things you already do or might like to do with your child in the future. Maybe you already do a lot, but if you don't and are looking for some inspiration, here are a few ideas. You could read to them or listen to them reading to you. Chat in the car on the way to or from an after-school activity. Play a board game or a computer game together. Bake a cake or make dinner together. Go out for a hot chocolate or milkshake. Walk to school and chat on the way. Go to the park to play football, tennis, basketball, or just swing on the swings. Go for a bike ride or a walk together. Visit the shops. Or take them out for a special treat, like the cinema, bowling, or swimming. Take some time to think about how you find spending time with your children. If you find it a challenge, why do you think that is? What could you do, or are there things you could change to make it easier? Here's a challenge for you this week. Could you spend half an hour or even just 15 minutes a day listening to your child about their day? Think about when might be the best opportunity to do this. Perhaps when you're making dinner is not such a great idea. Bedtime is often the best time to sit down and take time to listen to your child. All families are different, and so how and when you spend time together and what you do will look different for everyone. So it's important to focus on your family and what works best for you. So let's reflect what we have thought about in this session. We have considered how children often express their feelings through their behaviour. We have discussed some positive things that we could say to our children. We have thought about how to recognise our children's feelings and how to help them express them. We have thought about what listening well looks like and then looked at tips for listening well. We have discussed ways to spend time with our children so that we can build our relationship with them in a positive way. If you would like to explore some of the things we have covered in this session in more depth, we have provided a couple of resources to fill out. In the next session, we will be looking at boundaries and parenting styles. See you then.